Welcome back to Therapy Sessions, episode 19. And this time we're coming to you on a bit of a somber note, but also kind of a celebration of what the season was, what it meant to us, and the magic that was this season. So we're going to recap the unfortunate loss to the Rams. It was close, but didn't quite get it done. And then we'll go back and we'll look at some of our favorite moments from the season. And then we'll give you guys kind of a sneak peek at what lies ahead into the off season. Chris, what do you got?
When I'm back in Chicago, I feel it. Another version of me, I was in it. I waved goodbye to the end of the beginning. And Nick, that's what that game was. It was the end of the beginning of this run, right?
Yep.
Like this is not a dead end or whatever. Like there is something big going on here in the city with this team, and I think people need to see the forest through the trees and understand what's going on here because it's going to be awesome, man. And it's going to
Yep.
be this player and this coach and this team is going to be around for a while. Nick, how did you watch the game?
We watched it at our neighbor's place. They had kind of a watch party, the kids and the families together. It was really a tight game the entire way. It was tied for most of the game. It was kind of crazy. Chris, tell the audience how you watched the game.
Did you have any Penrose at that watch party?
Well, of course we did.
What kind of Penrose did you have?
Can't go anywhere without it. I had the Stargazer, my favorite.
Shout out to Penrose who had us do a live show also on Friday, and we were swarmed with children and people who came, and it was more people than I ever imagined would come to my favorite bar to talk about my favorite football team. So that was awesome, and thank you
That
everybody
was
who
awesome.
came. And I
Thank
think
you
we'll
to
be doing that
Penrose.
again. Yeah,
Yep. Thank you to
thank you to
Penrose.
anybody who listened.
Yeah. Thank you to anyone who listened. Thank you to our fans and our family and our friends for showing up. It was an awesome showing. And we really appreciate the support. And we really, really, as Chris said, really appreciate and tip of the cap to Penrose. They've been just fantastic sponsors, great people. Tom, Sam, the whole crew. Just really, really appreciate those guys.
They were cleaning up the cheese that Nick had a bunch of first graders grading. So thanks, guys.
That's right.
I watched the game from directly behind the Rams bench. Um, I I was gonna go to that game hell or high water after I missed out. Dedicated therapy patients will know that I didn't go to the Packer game, despite having the ability to. So was on a mission that I was gonna go to this Rams game no matter what. And as the weather got worse all week, I could not get anybody to go to this game with me. I was essentially resigned to going on my by myself, which I would have done gladly. Um, and then later, the night before, basically 2 nights before, I was able to acquire through various means like insane tickets with the Rams traveling party. Um, and a lot of people who all of a sudden decided that said it was too cold, that now decided it wasn't too cold. Nick, my dad was all mad at me today about not taking them, right? And I told him he had the chance. He's like, yeah, but I didn't know they were that good.
You told them about it, didn't you?
I mean, I told him, and then, what eventually happened was my cousin Adam Jensen, thank you, Adam came to our show, and he walks up to me and he says, nobody wants to go? I'm like, yeah. He goes, I don't care where your seats are. I don't care what it costs. I'm going. And that loyalty earned Adam those seats. so,
Good job. Good job, Adam.
um, so my cousin Adam and I met up downtown, and we met up at a bar, and then we got into kind of the South Lot. And the night before, I was at like kind of almost like a college reunion. It was like a 40th birthday for one of my friends, and all the girls' husbands were going to the game, which was crazy. Every single one of them. And that's when I kind of realized that this is the first time I can ever remember that we knew for a fact this was going to be like the last home game. And, you know, not where they're like 3-14, but it's like a playoff run. Because of the way that the schedule fell, we knew that we were going to Seattle, right? So everybody started crawling out of the woodwork going to this game. This is the last one, no matter what, hell or high water, win or lose. This is it. We're gonna empty the clip. So we go, we tailgate, we have a great time. Nick, it was not as bad as the Browns game was actually. You know, it was
Right.
probably 15
Right.
to what was the
The
temp for the Browns game even?
the real feel was like -20. So yeah, it was much
Yeah,
worse
it was
than last week.
in the single digits. It was cold, and but it was like majestic, and it's what this people and place is made for. So I was explaining to my wife Brittany why I had to go, and it was that I had to explain to her if we played in LA, we would lose 75 out of 100 times. And she goes, "Well, what about playing here?" I said, "We lose 51 times out of 49 out of 100." She goes, "Well, how could it be so different?" And I had to explain to her it's what makes football so awesome is that it's the place and the people, and we help the team, right? We interfere
Fourth
with the
phase.
defense, the weather, the fourth phase. That Chicago is actually not known to be a great home field advantage for like almost
It be
any sport.
it kind of became one this year though,
Correct, right? For the first time in a very long time.
right?
Um, and I kept watching the weather, praying all week it would get as bad as possible because I really thought it would help us out. But I got in the stadium, man, and it basically started snowing a half hour before the game, and I like looked up, and it was essentially Valhalla, right? It was football heaven. It was the scene, the crowd. I've
Yep.
never been to a Bears game where nobody sat down for 60 minutes, and
That's
really
how
maybe
that
75. Nobody sat down.
that's how last the week before was too. The playoff football, man, it's glorious. That's how it should be at Soldier
So
Field.
we'll get into the game, and we'll go into our shtick of like grading the units. But man, that was like one of the finest expressions of American football you may ever see. When you combine the the team, the histories, the players on the field on both sides. You know, the Rams are rolling out multiple Hall of Famers. A lot of them have Super Bowl rings, right? And it was incredible. It was, you know, if the sun ever exploded and we had to upload to a celestial hard drive the experiences of the human race, and we had to tell future generations of people what American football is, this is going to be on the short list of games. I've been to over 100 Bear games, and I've seen them probably win 50 times, lose 50 times, whatever. This is the best Bear game I've ever seen in my life. And we'll get to Caleb, right? But the throw, that the fourth and four, whatever we end up calling it, is the
Insane.
single greatest athletic feat I've ever seen in my life.
Crazy.
And it alone is worth the price of admission. And we'll talk about that throw and what it means. I'll just talk about it. We'll get
Yeah.
to it with Caleb, right? Outside of it, 31 teams don't win the Super Bowl. Okay. One team does. This is about as good a way to go out as you possibly can. You go out on your shield. I've never seen the Bears cheered off the field in my life. I've seen
That
them
was
booed a
cool.
lot,
That was
right?
cool to
And I
hear
got to
about
do
that.
that.
Yeah.
Yeah,
That's
it
really
was
cool. That's
pretty
like something
cool.
from a movie, right?
They took,
Like
yeah, it is.
Friday Night Lights or like
Nick, how does Friday Night Lights
whatever.
end?
They
The
lose.
movie.
The team
But what
loses.
happens? What happens in the
Permian.
postscript?
I don't know. What else?
In the postscript, it lets you know that they win the state title the next year.
There you go. There you go.
Um,
Yep.
they took a curtain call, man, and it was so well deserved. And this is the best bear season of my life, right?
It's
And
incredible. Yes. I agree.
it is doing this show with you, and like I've lived in this house and in this town for 9 bear seasons, 7 of which sucked. Um, and to like just the town and the people. And on Friday my son's school, they actually did the good better best before school ended, like the whole school. and everybody's in the Bears stuff, right? And it's like I was telling some of the parents at pickup, like, man, I'm here when they're 3-14. Like,
Right.
this is this is so awesome, and I'm so happy with it, right? Like all this Bears gear I wear in the winter, I'm wearing no matter what, right? It's kind of all I only own Bears clothes, right? But to have everybody else kind of do it, right? And then just all week, just around town, I've at least a dozen times overheard people talking about the game, and I'll butt into their conversation and be like, I was there. Uh, I had a discussion with an extremely nude 70-year-old man in the locker room at Del Nor today at the gym about the game, right? Like,
Okay.
hey, by the way, where were you?
Far away from there.
Yeah. Yeah. Nick and I were supposed to meet at the gym this morning. I just remembered that.
I was on a conference call with someone from New Zealand.
Okay. Oh, this New Zealand deal. It's killing him. He's
Yep.
up all night. So,
It's killing me.
um, what I would say is, Nick, what's the first Bulls title that you remember?
Probably 92, 92,
So that's
maybe
mine.
93,
The
right around there.
Blazers. The
Yeah.
Blazers series.
Yep.
I remember that series pretty vividly. I remember the Shrug game, right?
Yeah.
Um, I vividly remember that. I watched it in my cottage in Door County. And then I remember almost every part of the 93 season. So I was Owen and Frankie's age for that, right? And that set me basically like a psychotic sports fan for the rest of my life. What people don't remember about Jordan and that Bulls team, and I don't think is like really a story told really outside of maybe The Last Dance or a couple of these books of is what it was like to be a Bulls fan in the years before the dynasty, right? They lost for 4 years in a row to Detroit. People
Yeah.
thought Jordan was a loser, right? And also some of those iconic Jordan moments pre-dynasty come immediately before like them getting swept. It's like the shot, right, against Cleveland where he's wearing the Jordan 4s. They got swept the next week. When he scored 67 against the Celtics, they lost that series. But nobody remembers, as far as the legend of American sports goes, that the Pistons swept the Bulls after the shot. It's the shot that becomes indelible, right? Another example of that is the 2006 Super Bowl, man. If you ask casual people, people don't remember who the Bears even played in that game. They don't even remember who won. They remember one thing from it. What?
The kick return.
That's
Lester's
it. The
return.
Bears lost the game, but the moment was theirs, right? Like
Yep.
I told my Colts fan boss this, he got all mad about it. But nobody remembers the Colts won that game. They remember they played in it, right? If the Rams lose this week, no one will remember the Rams won that game.
No.
I don't think, right?
No, I agree.
Um, so it's important for Bear fans to understand the big picture that you have a bunch of 23 and 21-year-olds going toe to toe with a Super Bowl winning team laden with veteran Hall of Famers making their last run. They take it to overtime. It's a coin flip, and they are a bad route, bad play call, whatever, away from going to Seattle in the NFC title game. Now, I have no
Yeah.
idea what would have happened in that game, right? They could have gotten blown out. Caleb could have had some crazy play at the end. The thing I'm not sad about the Bears season being over. You know what I'm sad about, Nick?
What?
That I don't get to watch Caleb Williams play football next week.
Yeah. Amen. Amen to
Do you
that. I'm
ever
also
remember
sad.
that?
I'm also sad that all you needed was one more win and you're in the Super Bowl. I mean, that would have just been insane. But it's okay. It's okay because the amount of things that were accomplished this season is unbelievable. You won it. You won the division. You're division champions. You've already exceeded everything just by doing that. You beat the Packers twice in 1 year, just like Ben Johnson said he was going to do. One of those times was in the playoffs. You won a playoff game. We talked about that earlier on this podcast. I think one of the early episodes, we said, how cool would it be not just to make the playoffs, but to win a playoff
Yeah.
game? Well, you did that.
I might have even predicted beating the Packers in the playoffs like 2 months ago, right?
Yeah.
At one,
Yeah.
I don't think it was on the podcast. I think Nick was being especially deranged at a beer bar, but when he was asking me how much I would pay to ensure the Bears won, right? Do you remember? trying to figure out what it would cost you.
Yeah,
Like,
how
what
much
was the
would you?
number we came up with?
Yeah, just how much you would pay in general to. I think we. What did we say? Did we say two
Was it
thousand
ten
or five
grand?
5,000 or something like that? Some
Um,
absurd number.
so I like in business, in sports, in life, I talk about process over results a little bit, where the results in some of these games are fickle, right? But if you have good process, ultimately things will work out in your favor. And it's a little bit how I feel about that football game is I got to experience football heaven, man. Football Valhalla. And in the end, somebody was going to win, somebody was going to lose. It was a coin toss, but man, so I'm kind of sitting amongst a few Rams fans. And there's a couple pretty cool ones by us. They flew in from LA. They had to buy jackets at the airport. um, but man, we actually all hugged right before overtime, and we were just like, I think gave him the who's got it better than us. Where else would you rather be than this, right? Snow's coming
Yep.
down, the wind is swirling, the 50 million people are watching, and man, I have no regrets. I will never forget that. And Nick, let's talk about the quarterback. Let's grade him.
Yeah, because he made the play of the season. I mean, maybe even the play of the decade for crying out loud. It's one of the greatest plays in the playoffs, period. It's unbelievable. And he's fading away off his back foot, running backwards, starting at the 14-yard line, all the way back to about the
Fourth and
40-yard line.
four, 14 seconds left, the season on the line.
Season on the
So
line.
there is no higher leverage moment that really almost any pro athlete can have. An NFL quarterback with the season on the line in the playoffs, 4th and 4, no
And
time left, right?
he just flicks it and he throws an absolute dart. And it just had the perfect line, perfect velocity. And Cole Kmet does a great job himself of getting open and
So
just
I'll give it to you
crazy.
in the stadium is
Yeah.
that
Yeah.
you know how we told all the Bear fans to shut up a couple weeks ago?
Yes.
I feel like now they listened and they do too good of a job, and now the stadium is like dead quiet and it's almost eerie, and I feel like it puts too much pressure on the offense, right?
Yeah. Yeah.
It's weird, right? Because it is silent, right? Like the fans have gotten better about it. So that play comes up, it's 4th and 14, and the entire stadium is silent, right? And in these situations all game, there was like a nervous energy because they kept getting stuffed on 3rd and short and 4th and short. And it's like you can hear the pads hitting because the stadium is dead quiet, right? So it's 4th and 4. They snap the ball. I'm watching this and I'm watching him retreat. So I'm at the other end of the field. So I have the reverse view of it, right?
Yeah.
And all of a sudden he's running towards me. Like we're making eye contact.
Right.
He's going the wrong way, right?
Yeah.
And I'm thinking, I'm processing that fast enough that I'm envisioning 3 months, 4 months of Caleb Williams took a 40-yard sack
Yeah.
to lose the game. Nick, that
Yeah.
would have wiped. Remember how I talked about how the losing to the Packers would have wiped away all of the goodwill from this season? Caleb Williams taking a 40-yard sack on 4th and 4 to tie the game may have wiped away almost, um, he at this point I'm like devastated. I'm like, oh my god, this is. And then the ball goes up, and from my vantage point, the ball goes up. I can't see Komet because I'm on field level, right? All I see is Durant, number 14, and I'm like, oh, he just threw him like an arm punt. Like this is just gonna end on a pick. And then all of a sudden behind him is Cole Komet, and I thought I was like, is he out of bounds? Did he push off? Right? People are exploding. I'm not even saying anything. I'm just standing with my jaw dropped, right? And then I collapsed into my seat, and I just put my hands over my eyes, and I think I might have started like tearing up, right?
Yep.
Um, the way I felt like it is, Nick, we saw the throw of the year the first time.
Mm-hmm.
Do you remember? And that was the
Yeah.
Browns throw.
And that's like now the
And
fifth best throw of the season for him.
Yeah, and that was like a month ago.
Yeah, exactly. Every
When I
game
saw
is
that
better than
Browns
the next.
throw, I didn't even know how to react because I couldn't compute it, right? It like teleported through two guys and all of a sudden DJ celebrating, right? Um and the stadium was unglued, right? My cousin claims that he hurt his shoulder like hugging and high-fiving me and everybody, and I kind of hurt my back doing it. And we're both Stafford's age.
Yeah,
Like, but it was the singular most unforgettable thing I've ever seen in my life. I've been to a lot of games, but I also haven't been that lucky, right? Like the
right.
best game I've ever been to, I guess before this would be the last Bears playoff win, the Seahawks game, but that was like against a bad team, and it led nowhere ultimately. I saw some awesome Derrick Rose games. I saw the White Sox blackout game. I was at game one of the AL NLCS against the Marlins, the Bartman series.
Mm-hmm.
I'm trying to like think. Other than that, I haven't been. I've been at some pretty big Notre Dame games. I haven't been at anything like it. Right. I did see John Cena versus Roman Reigns in the United Center. Like, but man, I that's the greatest game I've ever been to, and hopefully it's not for a while because this hopefully this player and this team can surpass that. But I don't know how Caleb Williams in his career will ever surpass that throw, just because of nobody should ever try that throw.
Right.
Nobody should,
It's
it's
crazy,
such it's a moment of such desperation or
insane.
whatever, and like I don't think any player in the history of the league could have done it.
No,
Mahomes is too fat, right? Um, I don't know. Like,
I don't
so
think
we
so.
want to talk about
Yeah.
Caleb. Caleb Williams gets an A+ for the game, right? Like, sorry, you make the greatest throw in the history. You get it. To watch Caleb Williams in those conditions too is breathtaking, man. It is. This guy. If I had to compare Caleb Williams at this point, and I've been thinking about it all week in the shower, is he is a cross between Derrick Rose and Steph Curry. That's what he is. And he's an NFL quarterback, and he's ours, man. And when he's 28 years old, your kid will be in sixth grade, right? Our boys get to grow up with this guy at quarterback. So I had my brother simulate Caleb Williams' career through ChatGPT,
Okay.
right?
Okay.
Because he does. He's like, oh, they always all the Bears, and then I'm like, all right, send it to me, and it had like two titles, two appearances, three MVPs. It had him like going to like the Panthers when he's 38 and like like having two winning seasons, right? But it's crazy to see like it's predicting him to have like 40 touchdowns and 8 interceptions in 2031. Like so like
Yeah.
you know, people have to understand what this is like a homeless man finding a lottery ticket in like a jacket at a soup kitchen. This is what we have, right? And we did our best with Eberflus last year to lose that lottery ticket, right? But this guy is so incredibly talented, and he is so preternaturally built for the position and for the moment and that stuff that he outshined the turd organization that was the Bears. He
Mm-hmm.
dragged the Bears out of it, right? He survived Eberflus. He survived Waldron. He survived Alan Williams or whatever, right? Um, it's a miracle that we have him. We've waited for this player our whole lives. He's here, and everybody needs to go. Nick, the NFL just released the Caleb Williams 2025 highlight video. Do you know how long it is?
No. 20, 30 minutes.
It's 50, 55 minutes.
Oh my gosh. That's awesome. That is
I already
awesome.
watched it. The body of work is complete. So we'll get to that, I think, next week or the week after we do the season review. In this game, the weather conditions are that Matt Stafford is one of the strongest arms in the history of the NFL, and he was significantly impacted by the weather conditions. Caleb wasn't, man. He wasn't at all. And this player in this city, as long as we're not playing in a roof in Gary, Indiana in 4 years, the ultimate advantage that this player provides is that arm and that ability to get off a throw at any angle through any weather in this building, because they're going to be hosting a lot of playoff games, Nick.
Yep.
We're going to be going to a lot of these, right? Um, he appears to be a smaller, more athletic Josh Allen. Okay.
Right.
Now,
That's the comp that you're hearing more and more in the last
right.
few days and weeks.
So you'll hear that specifically this week because of how those games ended in identical fashion in overtime. I watched that. I watched the Bills game at the end of it at like True Lux Seafood, right, with my wife, and she was all irritated because we're at this really nice restaurant, and I'm watching the game at the bar, right? Like, um, but within that game, here, let's just. Caleb graded out pretty well despite
He
3
did.
picks.
Right.
Comes out from PFF at 65, but then just out of the QBR stuff and out of all the
72.
metrics, Caleb graded as the highest rated quarterback in the entire divisional round, and that's our guy.
Yeah.
He outplayed Matt Stafford straight up. So Matt Stafford
Yep.
goes 20 of 42 for 258, 0 and 0. Caleb 23 for 42, 257, 2 and 3. On the ground, he adds 40 with a key run in the fourth. He had an awesome, I don't remember if it was an overtime or fourth quarter where he had the sneak and then he posed after it at like midfield.
Yeah.
Caleb Williams was a force of nature on that field. I feel he was a little bit let down by his pass catchers. We'll get to that.
Yeah. They had a
But
lot of drops.
but Caleb Williams has played 2 postseason games, and at this point owns 2 of the great top 10, top 5 throws in the history of the NFL postseason. I wanted to ask you, Nick, 4th and 8 last week. In the
Yeah.
moment live, did you understand what you saw, or did it take to see the replay?
I understood.
Did you see his feet off
that,
the ground? Did you see him levitating live?
No, I didn't see
Okay.
that. I knew he was moving to his left. I knew he was off balance. I knew he was throwing
Yeah.
kind of across his body and
Was he
doing
coming
something
towards you?
crazy. He was coming towards us. So they're now calling, by the way, they're now calling our end zone, the north end zone. They're calling it the lucky north end zone now because that's where all these crazy plays are happening. That's where your play that you just witnessed happened.
Yeah.
And that's where the big,
It's because of the show.
that bomb to DJ to beat the
Burton.
Packers,
Oh yeah.
to beat the Packers. But no, to answer your question, I did not realize fully how contorted he was. I just knew it was a big play and he got the first down.
Yeah. Because I watched it live, right, and then more of it was like, oh man, they're gonna lose, and then he did it, and I'm like, all right, can they make something of this? And then it was upon the replay in the moment. It actually took that play didn't the weight and magnitude of that play didn't come till the next day, right? With the screenshot and the video of it, and that's why this one is just crazier because like. I got on Twitter on the train after the game and I scrolled back to the moment that Caleb hit that play just to go through Twitter, and it was hilarious. It was beyond sports, right? Like, you had like Fox News and CNN people tweeting about it at the same time, right?
So let me ask you this: walking out of just how epic that moment was, right? And then obviously they lose the game, but the moment is still there. And
Yep.
the what was cool is like you said, you guys cheered the team off the field, which was really cool. Good on
Nick,
you,
what do you
Bears
think
fans.
everybody did? Nick, 63,000 people walking out of this stadium after the game. What do you think everybody did? Tell me. I'll tell you. What do you think they all did? What was the first thing they all did? Packers suck.
Yeah.
It was the whole way out. It was
That's
awesome.
right. So, but what
It was
was
great.
what were the vibes? What were the vibes walking out of the stadium and on the Metro heading home with all the other Bears fans?
Okay. It's a combination of sadness and excitement. And this is just what I'll tell you is I left the stadium telling my cousin and myself that this is going to be the best football player in the world in 18 months. And in
Yeah.
24 months, this may be the best athlete in the world. and he's here, and he's a Bear, man, and he's 23 years old.
And he's not only is he a Bear, but he has fully embraced being a Bear, and he's fully embraced the city and the
Yeah, in
fans.
a way,
And the
Cutler. All
fans,
Cutler had to do, all Cutler had to do was go to one Cubs game,
yeah.
right?
And the fans, what's really cool is the fans have fully embraced him. This is what we've been waiting for as fans. We
This is
have
Derrick
our
Rose.
guy. We have our
Yeah.
guy. He's now, it doesn't matter that he's from Washington, D.C., he's now a Chicagoan, 100%.
So
And he's
when
got the
do you
Iceman
remember?
statue.
Oh,
So to see
Iceman.
that Iceman statue, when I went
Yeah.
down there to see it, it was right by my office, the installation. I went to go visit it, to pay homage to it, and just to see that, it just reminded me of, like, we haven't had an athlete like this in years,
Derek.
decades,
It's Derek.
since Derek, and then really,
Yeah.
since Jordan. And so it's so cool
Yeah.
to see this.
Because even so, the 16 Cubs, the face of that team is Bryant, and he gets shipped off to Colorado to never to be seen again. God knows what happens to the shortstop, to Russell, right? But face of that team ends up being Rizzo, Schwarber, whatever, and they just never really make an impact after. Derek is it's old. Derek is a sports tragedy, right? At our extremely limited championship history since Jordan, you have the '05 Sox, and the face of that team, it's like Canerco and Burley, and I'm pretty sure they could walk through O'Hare, and it wouldn't be that difficult for them, right?
Yeah.
For the Cubs, those none of the guys end up re-signing. They end up going on other places. It's Rizzo and Bryant, right? Maybe Lester.
Yeah.
Like Arrieta's never. No, none of them are ever around, right? And it really is like Derek and Joe. I think the most beloved of the past like 15 years is the end of the Lovey guys. So Briggs, Urlacher, Tillman, and then really Derek, Joe Kim, Taj. I don't know. Luol Deng's probably like a senator in Nigeria or something. I don't know or a doctor or something, right?
He's like a big time private equity investor now.
Do you remember the scuttlebutt this time 3 years ago or 2 years ago? The Bears have the number one pick. It's going to be Caleb, and all this starts coming out that he doesn't want to play here, right?
Yeah.
And it ends up being true, which
Right.
is funny. And then when the story comes out during the combine that Caleb will play, they release a press release. It's basically like Caleb is training and he will gladly play for anybody who will take him. Cowherd, who always had the inside story because he's like a huge USC booster, said that they looked around. They didn't want to be a villain. They didn't want to blow up the league. And ultimately, what said it that inside is he wanted to go somewhere that cared.
Yeah. Yeah.
Man, and for
Perfect.
this player to end up here with this fan base is an incredible match, man. And to watch Packer fans come to terms with it. I hung out with one on Saturday night. Tyler, man, he was telling me how his kid was sobbing during the Bears game, and it made me feel bad. You guys might beat us a couple times in the next decade, 2 or 3 times. It'll be fine.
We'll allow 2 times in the next
Yeah.
decade.
But I've waited for this player, man, for my whole life. And it's not even just a Bears quarterback. It's just the next Jordan. And we thought we had it with Derek, and it wasn't sustainable, and we lost it, never to get back. The Bulls, I mean, I would like to do in the offseason an entire episode about Jerry Reinsdorf, if you will allow me. I was threatening to beat him up today outside of my son's school, telling other parents how much I disliked that man. This town was in a terrible place in sports in the past 5 years, Nick. It's been since COVID. It's been
dismal,
right?
Yeah.
And Reinsdorf owning 2 teams is heavily to blame for that, right? And I also think Reinsdorf not pushing the Cubs has made them less competitive, right? But this town, this was a dark place, and I think I said it maybe last week or whatever. But I would go by the elementary school that you went to in my neighborhood, and I would see only a handful of kids playing football, and it's because they're not watching football, right?
Mm-hmm.
And the kids that were playing football are wearing Justin Jefferson jerseys and they're wearing Patrick Mahomes jerseys. And you know what I saw this week, Nick? They're all wearing Bear stuff and Caleb stuff, and they're
Caleb.
all arguing who's Iceman, and they're all trying to do the throw,
That's what I love.
right?
That's what I love. That's one of my favorite things to come out of the season was
Yeah.
because you and I can relate to that. We grew up with Jordan, and everyone
I
at
was shooting
school,
turnaround jumpers when I was like in 8th grade because of Jordan.
everyone at school was Jordan. Everyone on the basketball court was Jordan. Be like Mike. And now we have Iceman, and we have the kids talking about that. That is
So
awesome.
I'll tell you something about Iceman. Just one last thing is, first of all, sick nickname. It's killer, and it's sticking. But people all around just kept calling him Iceman, and man, how cool is it that your quarterback's nickname is Iceman, right?
Awesome. It's insane.
Caleb Williams, A+, running backs.
Running backs were solid. Yeah, they. I mean, DeAndre Swift had a solid game. He had 76 yards
19
for a
for 76, 4.0. It's what he does every week.
Yep. And then Monungai's
He was
efficiency
running
wasn't
into a
great,
brick
but
wall the whole game.
he was he was he was running hard, but yeah, he was not
Yeah.
getting much in the way of yardage.
The failing of the ultimate game is they didn't lose this game because DJ Moore ran a wrong route or was lazy. They lost this game because they repeatedly came up short on 3rd and 4th down, right? And there's
Yeah.
two parts of that. It's pass catchers going out of bounds 1 yard early, not having
Right.
get the first down. But they were getting blown up repeatedly on these 3rd and 1s, 3rd and 2s, 4th and 1s. And actually, on the Bears' last possession, I was telling everybody if we score, we got to go for 2.
Yeah.
And I feel
I was
the
thinking
Rams
that.
you're an underdog, you're a home underdog. The Rams have the better team. Get off the field, right? Ben Johnson's rationale the next day was that all of their short yardage plays were getting blown up, and he's right. Yeah, I
Right.
think he's
Right.
and he was actually proven right in that they got the stop they needed, right?
Right.
But that running game ends up about as efficient and productive as it's been. But when you needed it and those short yardage, you didn't get it. Monungai was a couple times getting blown up. We'll get to the offensive line with that, and we should just do it now. Offensive line, what do you think?
Yeah, and really quick before we hit offensive line, on those short yardage plays, you know
Yeah.
what I would have liked to have seen from Ben, and it's risky.
Right.
But
Yeah.
when you're getting blown up that much on 3rd and 1 and 4th and 1, run a play action boot. Run a play action boot and just have a tight end. Have a tight end leaking. They're crashing down on the middle of the line. Have a tight
Yeah, a
end
couple of them
leaking
were
out.
blown up by the backside.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Why are we not doing a play action boot and then Caleb has an option to run, or he can just do a quick little flick for 3 yards, 4 yards to the tight end. I would have liked to have seen that.
I'd have to go back and look so anecdotally, but I do feel like they actually did struggle a little bit in the run game and like 4th and short, 3rd and shorts throughout the second half of the season.
Yeah.
I actually think a big part of it is moving Tooney to left tackle weakens you at left tackle and left guard. And I understand they had to do it because they're up against Jared Verse. But I do think that ends up weakening the left side of your line, right, where a lot of the stuff came through. We'll talk about the offensive line with that. So as far as the offensive line grading, Jackson comes out actually as the highest graded offensive player, only at a 78. So they really didn't have anybody grade really bad, but a lot of grades in the 70s. Jonah Jackson grades well. No one else really does. Tooney comes up at a 61, but he's playing out of position. Darnell doesn't grade out. He grades out 62, which is only okay. McFadden graded out better than actually Tooney and Wright. And the worst graded player in the team was Drew Dahlman, who comes in at 44. I heard something about Dahlman that was interesting, is that Dahlman is like 290 pounds. He's a smaller center. And Bob McGuinn, who's awesome, he's like the famous Packer beat writer, says that Dahlman was really, really good throughout the season, but he wore down as the season went on because he's small. And that the last month he's been nowhere near the player, and he's either banged up or wore down or he needs to get in the weight room or something. because he comes out of 44, which is like Jaquan Brisker territory of grading out, like not
Except
good.
for except for this game, we'll get to it. Brisker had a great game.
So
Brisker
we will
played
get to
his
that.
played his ass off.
Uh, that Rams defensive line, grading wise for PFF, everybody's a green or a blue. So that's a kick ass unit. Kobe Turner rocks. Jared Verse is essentially the best power rusher in the league, who you should have taken instead of Rome. On the other side, Brian Young is really good. And I'll tell you something really funny about Brian Young, and I noticed it right away. And then also on the replay, is one of the coolest things I've ever seen in my life in football. Byron Young is the defensive end who pressures Caleb on the 4th and 4. Caleb gets pushed down, and Byron Young stands and watches the scoreboard on the other side of the field.
Oh, I
And
saw that.
watches the
I saw
touchdown.
that. Yeah.
Unbelievably cool.
Put his hands on his head. Yeah.
Yeah, unbelievably cool.
Yeah.
The Bears' offensive line lost the matchup against the Rams' defensive line, and they didn't win it against the Packers either. If they're going to build the identity around the team, they got to play better. And we'll get to the offseason stuff because they have a hole to fill, right? But Caleb elevated them, right? Pass catchers.
Pass catchers. Let's see here. Well, Rome really let you down.
That was in front of me, the first drive.
It's terrible. It was terrible. That's ball game. He catches that. That's ball game.
We'll talk. I was talking with naked guys in the gym about the field goals and not passing it, and I had to explain to him, you can't, just because if you would have kicked those field goals, you don't just tack those points out. It
Right.
changes
The game.
everything else.
The game dynamic is different. No, I get that. I get
yes,
that.
the opening to open with that touchdown and that crowd, right?
That'd be huge.
And the thing with Rome we don't know is that Rome is playing with a stress fracture in his foot.
Doesn't affect your hands.
I mean, you
Catch the ball.
Brutal, man. This guy is a born and bred cutthroat shark.
Catch the ball. Ninth overall. Catch the ball.
Speaking of Nick being just being a shark, is during our game, during the Bear game, we had our own youth football game, which Nick had an interim head coach, and Nick pulled it out on the last play.
We won a walk-off TD.
Walk-off
to win it.
You know what? And I'm a sick maniac. If I had to ask God to pick either the Squishmallows, the St. Charles Squishmallows, or the Chicago Bears, the walk-off TD, I think I'd rather take our little guys. But
no, Bears all the way.
I
Sorry,
think it was a
Squishmallows.
poor Squishies for life. It was not a great game for the Bears pass catchers at all, man.
No, lots of drops. Even Loveland had a few drops, which was weird.
He did, and we'll get to him. He ended up leading the game. So, football is not a game played on paper. It's not a game played theoretically, right? You have to play it with ground truth of the elements. And, in that stadium, it was pretty cool. I don't know if you saw in the videos I posted, but the wind is swirling, the snow is going around, and it is not an easy environment to catch the ball. I mean, none of the Rams receivers or their passing game was even functional, right? But, Ben Johnson said it today. We're recording Wednesday night, that they need to catch the ball, right? Through the whole season, it ends up being a problem. And another thing that ends up impacting the game is, did you know Loveland went out with a concussion?
Yeah. Yep, that wasn't.
So I didn't know it. I didn't even know that till Monday, right? But he goes out in the fourth quarter with it, and they didn't have him in overtime.
That affects that overtime drive. Yeah.
And being on the field, you can see Loveland is a breathtaking. Loveland is a thoroughbred, man.
Yeah.
He is up close. He is Jimmy Graham. I remember watching Jimmy Graham in his prime, and then I remember seeing his corpse with us. And this is who this player appears to kind of be, man. And the way that Caleb targets him is, we'll get to the offseason stuff, man, but man, I could be convinced to move DJ and Rome. I don't know how many receivers you need, right? Loveland's going to be your number one target moving forward.
Luther.
Burden will end up being number two. And then, based on what you do with Rome or whatever, but you have to get defensive help in here. But like, it's time to talk about DJ. You want to start?
Yeah. So DJ was interesting. DJ had some really, really good plays in this
The one
game.
hand catch.
Yeah, the one hand catch. He has a touchdown in there. He makes another tough catch during the game. He got hit really hard on the sideline after a
Yeah.
catch, and I actually heard a report on 670 The Score that his health, he might have actually been somewhat compromised at the end of the game, health wise, which might have contributed to him not being able to run that route full speed. But you're in the game. And it's overtime of a playoff game. You got to give it your all. I don't know. I've heard the debates go both ways on this on that last play. Caleb had a really good answer. He said he took the blame. He said, "Look, there was miscommunication. I thought he was going flat. He thought he was going to cross the safety's face and go shallow, and it looks like there was a huge opening there, which
Yeah.
DJ
That's
should
the
have seen."
tragedy of that play is if DJ runs the route, actually, it's either a huge gain to him, and if he runs the route right, he brings the safety up, and it's a walk off to Rome then, right?
Yeah,
If he runs the route right. And what I said about DJ repeatedly all year is this appeared last year with the first Caleb year, is he's not a detailed player.
yeah,
DJ was at his best on a bad team with a bad quarterback being funneled the ball, right? DJ DJ's effort and his intensity should never be questioned. Nick, 52 out of 52. What does that mean to you? What does that number mean to you for DJ?
is that the snaps he played?
52 games, 52 starts. That dude plays.
Yeah,
Right?
yeah,
Against the Packer, the second Packer game, every Bear receiver was hurt except DJ Moore. Right. This
Yep.
guy answers the bell every week, and that is actually ultimately the most important intangible trait any NFL player can have. Also, DJ Moore has never won in any program or team in his life. Maryland
Until this
sucked
year.
when he was there. Panthers are a joke. The Bears were a national embarrassment. This is the first year he ever won anything, right?
right.
That last play, it sucks that's how that season ends, especially when you put in regards the Packer plays with him and everything. And we'll get to him in the offseason is ultimately there's most likely he won't be here, but it's not because of that play. If
Right.
DJ
Right.
if DJ catches that ball for 28 yards and they kick a field goal and win, he's not going to it has to do with his contract and his value and where the team is, right? DJ Moore's name deserves respect on it. 52 out of 52. This guy came into the least amount of talent in the entire league, and he gave it some credibility. 52 out of 52. Right.
Honestly, at this point I'm more disappointed in Rome than I am DJ. When you look at where he was drafted, you look at the health issues and you look at the drops have been a consistent problem.
Yeah. So we'll get to that.
Disappointing.
Guy's got a broken foot, right? So like I know it doesn't affect your hands, but I was going back and watching some of the stuff, and he was actually really good in the first half. And the foot stuff came up around the Bengals game, and that he ends up missing a good portion of the season, right? He misses 5-6 games, and probably apparently what I heard about it was they tried to shut him down and he wouldn't do it. So I actually do like that. That being said, we'll get to it, but he has significantly more value than DJ does.
Yeah.
Right. So
Sure.
What I mean by that is DJ might not be the guy that gets traded for a defensive lineman.
Right.
I'm sad talking about the pass catchers, so let's go to the defense so I can get happy.
Yeah, defense was great. Defense kept you in this game. Defense was the reason that You held the Rams to what you were able to hold them to. Like I said, I thought Brisker
They
played
played their
awesome.
nuts off, Nick, man. Brisker
Brisker
played the
was
game
all
of
over
his
the field.
life. He
Oh
was
my
awesome.
gosh. A
He was,
sack, a TFL, 2 pass deflections, a
yeah,
QB hit, 14 tackles. He was all over
yeah.
the field.
He emptied the clip. Jaquan Brisker won't be back. We'll get into it. Did you hear what they said about him today?
What'd they say about him?
They asked about the safeties. They asked Poles about the safeties, and he's like, Kevin Byard is a special player, and we'd love to have him back.
That's all he said?
Yeah. Brisker, the only chance that they get Brisker back is if he goes to the open market and there's just not a market. Somebody will sign him, and you'll actually get a comp pick for it. But I remember when they drafted Brisker, everybody said he's a one contract player. You can't pay 2 safeties. If you're going to pay one, you're going to pay Byard. He's a concussion case, and he is not good enough in coverage. The reason he was so good in this game was the elements played into his game, right? Stafford had a bum hand. He got kicked out of him, and they were unable to really attack downfield. They played Brisker essentially as like a slot linebacker defensive end. He's on the line of scrimmage the whole game. We'll get to, so let's go to the defensive line. Let's kind of go there, right? You know who had the best grade by far for Andy Bear in this game? Yes.
On the D line, he was on the D line. Let me look at the numbers here.
By far the best grade and an elite grade.
Is it Billings?
No.
Who is it?
Dom Robb.
Oh, okay. Yeah.
Dom Robb recorded the fastest sack in the NFL in 2025 too, and it was the one where he knifed up the middle and got Stafford like right away.
Oh, that was sweet. That was awesome.
Dom Robb recorded a 92.6 pass rush grade. Brisker comes in an 82, Byard 78. DeMarco Jackson a 77. DeMarco Jackson will be a starting linebacker for you next year. Booker grades out very well. Gordon played really well compared to...
He did. He looked really good.
But again, this was his... Like, they were using him almost as like a nickel linebacker, right?
Right.
The defensive line hasn't been good enough and isn't good enough. And Dennis Allen used the best players he had available to him, which was the secondary, and he weaponized them on insane amount of blitzes. It's what they did against the Packers in the second half. They did it to the Rams. They had them in hell. And ultimately, they give up 20 points in overtime to the best offense in the league, right? That's heartening, man, but this defense will look significantly different next year. We'll get to that when we talk offseason, like stuff like that. Dennis Allen. Did you hear what Chris Long has been saying this week about kind of the game?
Say that again.
Chris Long was Kyle's brother.
No,
he was
what's he
at
saying?
the game. I saw him. He's saying that one of the biggest cheat codes this team has is Dennis Allen. Nobody's going to hire this guy as a head coach.
Right.
He gets to come in next year, and he gets to build. He's running like Mad Eberflus's defense with these players. He gets to build his own defense, and it's like they played really well. The defensive line kind of did what they did. The secondary, I remember in the fourth quarter looking at the secondary and realizing for the first time like all year, I'm counting the guys on the field, and we have Brisker, Byard, Gordon, Stevenson, and Johnson. They're all there. And these are the players that were drafted highly and paid by polls. And for like the first time all year, they're here and they're balling out, right? Even like Jalen gave up like a big play to like a tight end or something or whatever, but he's playing through stuff. They were heroic, and the crowd, they fed off the crowd. The crowd willed them on, right? It was awesome. And at the end of that game, it's whatever. You're up against freaking Puka Nacua and Devontae Adams, and eventually you're going to give up a 30-yard pass, right? Like it is what it is. They end up the play that ends up winning the game for the Rams is like a 3rd and 6 where Dennis Allen 0 blitzes and they throw into it, and Nacua gets like 25 yards and that's it. And they didn't do. the whole game the Rams couldn't get it, and they finally got it. The defense deserved to win that game, and
Yeah.
hats off to him. It heartened me because I was like sure at one point a couple weeks ago there was the worst defense in the league and we were going to need 8 new starters. I don't think that now. And I've been thinking about it all week, and I've been telling you that it's going to be Max Crosby. I don't think it is anymore. I think I know who it's going to be.
What's his name? Hendrickson. Trey.
Yeah, it makes a lot of sense. You don't have to give up a draft pick,
Yep.
and and Dennis Allen drafted him.
Yep.
And if he were smart, this guy was smart, he would take a deal that would facilitate it. Trey Hendrickson needs to decide, does he want to go play for the coach that drafted him and win, or does he want to go to Tennessee? Or does he want to go to LA? Or does he want to go to, whatever, right? Does he want to go to Jets? It'll be interesting to see what happens there, but I could actually kind of see that. And that player alone would make a huge difference. Right?
Oh, yeah. Him and Sweat. Yeah.
We'll get into the decisions that need to be made on some of these guys. I think you may have seen the last of both linebackers, actually, and it comes down to a money thing. And DeMarco Jackson was drafted by Dennis Allen and straight up outplayed him. He's going to be a starting linebacker next year. It could be him and Sewell. You can't pay him.
Did you see we signed Sewell's younger brother?
I couldn't believe there was another one.
Yeah. There's 3 of them in the NFL now. We signed their younger
Trayvon
brother too.
Diggs got cut?
I did. Yeah.
Nick, when the Packers signed Trayvon Diggs, Nick was texting me. He's like, "What the f, bro? Why didn't we get him?" Something like that, right? I'm like, Nick, I think we'll be fine. I think we'll survive.
And then I realized he sucks. He's washed up.
Yeah. It's getting late here, Nick. Coaching.
Yeah, let's wrap it up soon. I'm about to pass out. And we'll dive in more. We'll have some more content for you guys on another episode about kind of our favorite moments.
Our therapy patients. Yeah, we talked about it. So we'll do this, and then we'll do, I think, an episode recapping.
Recap.
There's coaching news.
Season recap.
I think we do is
best
next week
greatest hits.
We should recap the title games, and then there's coaching news. Al Harris, BNMA. We'll get through that. And then for the Super Bowl bye, we'll go through and grade the whole season, right? We review then the Super Bowl, and then we go into off-season stuff, right? But what did you think of Ben in this game?
I thought he was fine. I didn't mind the coaching. Honestly, the one thing that sticks out to me is the thing I mentioned already is I was begging for him on 4th and 1, 3rd and 1 to do some passes because they were getting slammed and they were getting shut down. Do some play action. Let them bite at it, and you could catch them off guard. So I was fine with it.
He coaches these games in a way that most people don't understand football, and he's doing it in the idea that when you're coaching these modern teams that are going for it all the time, NFL games 10 years ago, you got in 12, 13 possessions. You know what you're averaging now? 8 or 9.
Yeah.
The Bears had like 4 possessions in the first half and like 3 in the second half and then 1 in overtime. Right? So with that situation, it means that every possession you don't get a touchdown in is a loss. Right? And ultimately, any game that you manage where the ball is in Caleb Williams' hand in the end of the game and you can win it, you've done it correct. The only thing I'll say is that 2-point thing. And I'll always wonder about it.
Yeah.
But I want to say thank you to the Chicago Bears. I want to say thank you to my wife for allowing me to record these when we should be watching Dateline. And I want to say thank you to you, Nick. And I want to say thank you to the therapy patients.
I will echo each and every one of those sentiments. Thank you to my wife. Thank you to the therapy patients. Thank you to Bears fans. You really showed out this year. Thank you to our families and our friends who supported the pod. And Chris, tip of the cap to you, my friend. Thank you. It's been a blast. It's been a fun ride, and we're going to keep it going.
And also our first follower, John Gruden.
John Gruden.
Go Bears.
Thank you, John. Go Bears.